Hey everyone, this is Trevor Lowe. Got a quick update for you. During the Kickstarter, we received a lot of feedback about the auto jumping. Some people love it, some people hate it, and that's to be expected. Because it's something new and pretty unique, it's understandable that a lot of people will have their skepticism. But whether the skepticism comes from trolls on the internet or from people who back the game and support the concept, it's important to us to understand where those skepticisms are coming from and see if we can lessen them a little bit. A common request we had was a toggle for turning off the auto jumping. We've been playing around with some new concepts since the Kickstarter campaign ended, and the mission here was to find some new mobility options that help assuage people's fears, but don't take away from the core mechanic. That's why you'll notice in this video we've got some new parkour elements. Basically, the way it works is we added a collection of universal mobility options that all characters have. These parkour elements are accessed using the trigger buttons. If you hold the trigger while you are near a wall, you can do a wall slide, and then promptly press the jump button to do a wall jump. If you press the parkour button when you land, you can do a roll on the ground. You can also roll out of the face down state, so you have another option for getting away from an opponent who's trying to attack you. Additionally, if you press the jump button while you're rolling, you can perform a rolling leap, which gives you some pretty quick mobility on the ground. On top of all that, performing a wall jump and a rolling leap actually double as an attack if you manage to hit someone from the side. You also have the ability to press the parkour button when you're in a knockback state to tech a landing. The nice thing about adding all of these actions onto an additional button is that they're not required for new players to understand going into the game. Therefore, it doesn't really affect the learning curve too much. But it also provides a ton of extra depth for players who want to stick around and master the mechanics. Now, I think at this point a lot of people are probably asking, well, what about the auto jump toggle? We actually went ahead and made a placeholder functionality for what happens when you hold the parkour button and move around on the ground. You'll notice in this iteration, Blockman can stay on the ground, walk around, and jump as he's moving freely from walking. And in all honesty, the implementation of this feels pretty good. First and foremost, because you have so much extra mobility, matches tend to last a lot longer because no one's able to land hits on each other that well. With the ability to walk and run, the pacing of the matches just doesn't feel good anymore. Couple that with the fact that you now always have to hold the trigger in order to run, it kind of defeats the purpose of the auto jumping, and the game therefore loses its identity. Even more so, we found through playtests that your finger kind of gets tired from holding the trigger the whole time, which begs the question, well, should there just be a toggle? I can safely say through prototyping that we have no plans to add walking and running into Indie Pogo, because with the addition of walking and running, we're so much closer to being a Smash clone than we were before. While I understand that that may be what a lot of people want, that's not the game that we set out to make. The purpose of Indie Pogo was always to be a fresh take on the platform fighter genre, and through this implementation, I can safely say that adding those mechanics would take away from that goal. It's also important to note that we've taken the game to conventions multiple times. I've had countless people come up and tell me that they were skeptical about the auto jumping until they actually played the game. The common feedback that we receive is that it takes roughly 2 to 3 matches to get used to the auto jumping. And once you get used to the fact that the game is always in motion, it creates an experience that's pretty unique and allows for some fresh possibilities for mind games and anticipation of your opponent's next strategy. And while we are currently not planning to move forward with any walking or running mechanics, I feel a lot better knowing that we did prototype it out and are not going to go with these mechanics, not because we don't want to, but because we now know it's just not what's best for the game. And I hope that it shows that we are open to feedback. You know, this is a game being built by a community with feedback from the community, not just 2 dudes sitting in a room who are unable to accept constructive criticism. Our goal is to keep making this game better and better as we continue. We're still playing around with the idea of certain parkour elements on stages, such as ladders that you can climb or zip lines that you can hold onto. So let me know what you guys think about all these new parkour options. You know, do you think there's anything that players should be able to do with the trigger buttons? Personally, I would still like to see fighters be able to grab one another and throw them off the stage while still in midair. Anyway, thanks for watching.